Oh, what's up? Welcome to the Unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode, what is it, number 217. I am Adam Choit. To follow the show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks podcast on Instagram. Please subscribe on YouTube. That's definitely appreciated. Like, share, do all those things. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Let us know what you're up to in the chat. If you have any questions for my upcoming guests, I'll get them on momentarily. Hope everyone's been doing well. Happy New Year, by the way. This is my first episode of what year is it? 2026. I think that's what year it is. They all seem to go by pretty quickly as the years pass, but I definitely appreciate hanging out with you guys as TTB continues on their extended break. Of course, the band. Check out Weedside Woodside, awesome dispensary in New York City area. That's Randy's spot. Great supporter of the show. Has been on many times. That's Weedside and Woodside in the New York City area for all your THC and CBD needs. Patreon.com/TTB podcast to support. Thank you, Kathleen, Stacy, Troy, Daniel, Bo, and Marion's definitely appreciated. Definitely check out patreon.com/TTB podcast. All the links to everything is in the description below if you want to check out more. I'll definitely be getting out an audio version of this episode as well. Get that out later tonight, tomorrow, very soon for you guys for sure. Today we have returning guests. We got Sophie, Zach, and Todd of Revelator. They are a Chicago-based Tedeschi Trucks band, tribute band. They are awesome. You got Sophie on lead vocals, Zach on lead guitar, and they are filled out with a super powerhouse band, all based out of Chicago, with the funkiest musicians in the city of Chicago, of course. So without further ado, let's just bring them all back in and let's get into it. What's going on, guys?
Hey,
Hey.
We got a buzzing. What was that beeping? Did it go away? I think it went away. Maybe I'm just hearing things. What is that wheezing? You guys hear that? Am I tripping?
Good question. Is that coming from Utah?
Kirka, what's up? Something's wheezing. Do you hear that? Kirka?
Let me check some. I'll be right back. Let me check some.
Yeah, maybe I'll meet you. Testing. 1, 2, 3. I think it went away. What the hell, Todd? No, it's all good. It's all part of the journey. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for having us back.
Oh, for sure. Good to see you guys. Good to be with you guys. You're home right now. Well, everyone's in Chicago.
Yes. Yeah. All back from the holidays. Hope you had a good holiday season.
Oh, for sure. Where should we start? I guess tell me about the project. Reestablish how this became a thing and why TTB, and I'll let you guys jump in whenever you guys steer the ship.
Yeah, well, this has been a long time now in the making, but I remember doing a show with Todd and Zach, and I remember Todd came up to me and he said, have you ever thought about maybe doing like a TTB tribute? And this was like, I don't know, maybe like 2023 now. I think this was a while ago. And I was like, yeah, that would be really cool, but that would be like really difficult to do. So fast forward, I think a year later, I think Todd kept, working on me with the idea. And I finally said, okay, well, if we did it, I guess we would have to pick some really fantastic band members. So that took putting it together and figuring out what kind of songs we were going to do and what the vibe of the band is going to be took a long time. And so we finally had our first show in 2025 just this upcoming year at the Lyric Theater, and it went really, really well. We put a lot of hard work into it. The dedication of all the band members has been really awesome, and we're all just super big TTB fans, so it really did help the music and the show kind of move along and be what it was supposed to be.
TTB has always had such a strong following here in Chicago, and there aren't a ton of other groups of musicians in the U.S. that are paying homage and tribute to the kind of artistry that they create on stage every night. And was just the right time in the right place with the right people. And once we had the core group together to put together the group, everything just started happening super organically, and everyone took it really seriously from day one. And that made a huge difference in putting the band in the right direction, as far as from the business side of things, as well as, of course, musically. Everyone just gelled. And obviously we, some of us knew each other and some of us were less familiar, and we all became like family very, very quickly. And it's made the journey of being a tribute band to one of our favorite all-time bands. It's been really, really enjoyable. It's been really fulfilling. It's a privilege to be able to celebrate the music and play the music, and just do it justice. Do it the right way.
Yeah.
The best way that we can possibly hope to.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a very ambitious project. I think Todd, are you still? I think you're still giving some feedback. You might want to switch headphones, or maybe switch to a different device or something. I'm not sure why, but when I mute you, it seems to go away. I'm assuming everyone can hear. If I can hear it, I'm not totally sure, but
yeah, we're hearing it.
Now
okay, you know what I'll do? I'll move. Maybe if I move, because I'm not hearing it.
Now it's disappeared suddenly. I think maybe when you put your earbuds in, I think maybe that's what's causing. Maybe it's like confused because like sometimes the earbuds have a microphone in them too, as well as the microphone on the computer, and sometimes that gets mixed up. I'm not totally sure. It's coming and going though.
Okay, well, if it keeps happening, I can move. I gotta
sounds good.
Yeah.
You know what I want to ask? I don't think I asked this last time, because obviously with a lot of tribute bands, they're going to be of like, not that Tedeschi Trucks Band is not a famous, amazing band, that I love, of course. There it's wheezing again. No problem. But I want to ask, because a lot of tribute bands, it's one thing to have like a Rolling Stones tribute band, or Prince, or Tom Petty, or David Bowie, where they're these mega worldwide stars and have signature songs that everyone on the globe knows. Whereas TTB, it's a little bit more of a niche interest, despite Allman Brothers' roots and them having tons of success, Derek and Susan respectively, throughout their individual careers with the Allman Brothers or otherwise. But was there any thought to be like, oh, are there going to be enough people to be interested in this sort of thing? Is it too niche? Was that something that came up in the planning of this?
It was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, and still, like, we're trying to, book some upcoming shows, and the reaction that we get is either, oh my gosh, but from the bookers or venue owners, like, oh my gosh, I absolutely love TTB. Or on the flip side, there's a lot of people that still don't know who TTB is. And again, like Zach said, there's a lot of TTB bands in Chicago, and there's also a lot of fans. Sorry, what did I say?
Fans.
Sorry. Yeah, there's a lot of TTB fans in Chicago. And so we figured, well, if, like Chicago would be the right place if we're going to do it anywhere, definitely would be here. And there's also a lot of like adjacent type fans as well that enjoy the genre of music.
They've always done such a good job of TTB's genre. They cover a lot of ground, and the musicianship is one thing, and when they pull out covers, it's always like wow, I wasn't expecting to hear that version of that song. And then you add in all of their original material, which they have a lot of. It makes it really hard to narrow down a set list. But that's kind of the fun part of it is, when we put together this set list, we wanted to try and make it as versatile of a set list so that even if someone's not super familiar with TTB's original catalog, they're going to find that the inspiration that they're pulling from and the covers that they're doing and things like that, it's relatable to a lot of people who listen to a lot of different types of music. There's, you've got Derek Truck's band era of things, and then you've got the early TTB stuff, and the newer stuff with Gabe Dixon also has put a new twist on their sound. And finding live versions that we want to highlight of some of these songs has been super fun. It's not just playing it like it is on the record. We're finding versions of these songs from, oh, they did this version in Mattison in 2015, or this version's from the Fox Theater. You know, we're pulling from a lot of different performances. And Nugsnet has been great for that too.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people listening to this podcast are familiar with Nugsnet, but it's an awesome streaming, it's a live performance streaming app. And I've learned so much from the band and how some of these songs can go from one to the other just by watching concerts from Nugs, and of course going to see them in person when they come through town.
Oh yeah.
So it's been really, really fun putting together this set list.
I think that's something even like band members, and I think Brandon has talked about this, like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to learn Bound for Glory, but like, which version of Bound for Glory am I learning? Am I learning live from 2014? Am I learning the album version? Am I learning the version you played on last tour? So that's definitely something that you guys can jump around, do like different versions of songs. Do you use the set list or songs to sort of not necessarily like publicly promote, or that too, but even in conversation, like, oh, what is Tedeschi Trucks Band all about? You're going to get Joe Cocker, you're going to get Eric Clapton, you're going to get the Allman Brothers. Do you sort of explain it or promote it from that standpoint a little bit?
Well, I don't think we're at that point yet because we haven't played enough to, you know, we basically played one show, and now we're starting to get our feet under us where we're starting to play more shows. Hopefully organically we will, because, you know, Tedeschi Trucks, they play cover tunes to honor those artists and to introduce it to their fan base, right? That's what they do. So hopefully we can do some of that too and honor, you know, Eric Clapton and Zeppelin, because a lot of their fan base, especially the younger fan base, are not aware of those artists at this point, you know. So I think when we get to that point, I'm sure Zach and Sophie are gonna. We had talked about it, putting in some Mad Dog and Englishmen, because that was obviously a big influence over Tedeschi Trucks.
And
it seems essential at some point, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The set list is evolving too. There's, you know, from our first show at the Lyric Theater a few months back, we've got some new songs that we're throwing in for this upcoming show, which is this Saturday.
Give me one. Can you tease one new song that you guys been working on that you haven't played live? Is that who's making all the noise down there?
There's Louie. Say hello to Louie.
That's a Weezer.
That is Louie.
What's up, Louie?
He snores. He doesn't wheeze.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I'm hearing though. I don't know. It went away for now. But I was asking if any new anything that you could drop. Let me know.
We are pulling out an old Derek Trucks Band tune called "Get What You Deserve." And
of course.
He did a studio version of it, and they did a live version of it. We're going to do the live version of it from, I think it was from 2009 or 2010 off the live album. And it's just a blazing blues-inspired boogie. It's going to be a really fun addition to the song.
Yeah.
Sophie, do you do the lead vocal on the Mike stuff and Gabe stuff? Does it match? You guys jump around, or is it, or is everyone? Are you're the Susan? This is the Gabe. This is the Mike. How does that work?
We have some fantastic vocalists. We have John Katke, who's our keyboard player, as well as Gracie Lubisky, so we all share tunes. The ones Susan songs I do sing. But for some of the new songs that we're throwing in there, Gracie and John are splitting the load between those two. So, and they sound great together.
John covers the majority of the Gabe Dixon harmonies and the songs that Gabe sings lead on. And then Gracie's covering a lot of Alicia's songs. So, and then our drummer, Julian, who is one of the most phenomenal drummers I've ever had the pleasure of working. He is also singing backup harmonies on a handful of songs. So, you know, just to sort of fill out the sound from a vocal standpoint, we're really fortunate that we've got a group of people that's really good at doing more than just one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
How many people do we have in the ensemble at the moment? I mean, I'm sure it fluctuates from show to show and things like that, but I'm guessing it might. But
we've got a steady 8, and we haven't done a show without those 8 players. So, and that's kind of an important thing for us because it goes beyond just learning the songs. There's a chemistry there. Yeah. There's musical dialogue happening in these songs, and some of these songs are not played the same way every time we do it. You know, true to fashion, there's some sections of certain songs where it's like, all right, this is where we stretch. Let's talk to each other. Let's have that musical. Right. And that happens really organically with this group. And that's not something that can always be super easily duplicated in a live set.
This is a hard band to substitute. Like, I play with a lot of different tribute bands, and you could substitute people because they have charts and they play it pretty much note by note, you know. Right. It's this, but this is obviously, especially Derek being influenced heavily by jazz, right? We tend to stretch and tend to get out there, and so you really have to be able to communicate with your eyes and ears, right? Yep. So you just can't get somebody. If somebody came in to sit in for a gig, they'd be lost. No matter how good they are, they just get lost on this gig. You know?
Why would they be lost? Because it's too much improvising, or it's a lot of improvising. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a lot of improvising. We don't necessarily, okay, this is going to be 16 bars or whatever, you know, solo for 16 bars, and we go into the next section. Sometimes it's a look. Zach's giving us a look. Sophie's giving the look. Sophie's giving Zach the look, like, aren't you going to give anybody else a look? Yeah. That type of thing. So, and also it's just, I think, you know, with TTB, I think part of the family, you know, as Zach was mentioning before, that's very important to their structure of their band, who they bring in. And it's very important to this band too. We just can't bring in anybody.
We definitely talked about that a little bit last episode, about something about this capturing the spirit of the band and them as people and them as artists and capturing the feel of what it's like to be a Tedeschi Trucks band fan and go to a show, at least capturing some of that spirit. And it goes down to even like those looks that Susan and Derek, and that especially Derek when he's directing everyone on stage. That's something that you guys are doing as well and incorporating to your shows. I'm sure that adds to the authenticity. And I'm sure TTB fans watching you guys live, when they see you guys giving those looks, think about, oh, they're doing this, they're doing what Derek does, and you go, your turn, kind of thing. That's cool. We got a question here from Kirka, maybe too geeky of a question. How did you look at this project when you first started 2 years ago versus how you look at it today? How's the sort of outlook or view of the project all evolved?
Well, the first time that Todd, and I talked about it, I knew that it would be a lot of work, and I had no idea how it would be received. I had no idea if it would even be something that would work, because it's not a typical tribute band. But I do look at it a lot differently. I have a lot of respect for, everybody in the band and the amount of work that we've put in. And I really do think that we have something that we can be proud of and proud to show other people. And I'm glad that it is well received.
I'll add to that as well, and piggybacking off Todd was saying, like we were talking about the type of musical dialogue that's needed to improvise on the spot, just because it goes into improv mode doesn't mean the song fizzles out and goes nowhere and then you get lost and then you just end. No, there are waves to these songs that we've found. And the more that we've played these songs, the more confident we've gotten with playing them and expressing what we need to express for each song. We find ourselves stretching in certain parts, but it has to go somewhere. Yeah. Connecting those dots is something that can't really be learned just by listening. You kind of got to understand not only the genre, but also, I guess, in a way, the headspace of, to the best of our abilities, that is. Yeah. Trying to create that roadmap within our set list so that it's, it stretches here, but it has to go to this part. And then there's this transition, which will stretch, but then it has to go here. It's finding those connecting dots that connect the songs together in the sections so that it's not just a jam band. That's not what this is. And there's nothing wrong with jam bands. I love jam bands. But this is the type of thing that there has to be a higher level of thinking, both in the improv and on the just learning the song
I think you're articulating really well. One of the things that I really love about this band, and something I've talked about a million times, is that, like you're saying, they're a band that jams, but they're not a jam band. I don't refer to them as that, at least not first and foremost. And I think what really draws me into their improvisational aspects of TTB is that they are taking you somewhere. It is a journey, but it's also a narrative. They're also storytelling. Even when they're exploring and improvising, there's still a narrative. There's still the waves. There's still the ebb and flow. They play with dynamics better than any band ever, maybe. I mean, like that's part of what I love about this band. Whereas other jam bands, they can show off their skill. There's a lot of musicianships. There's a lot of exploration and talented players, but it doesn't hit me the same way as like, right. I think everything really kind of comes back to story. That's really what moves people, is story and art, the art within storytelling. You really get that with TTB. What I love saying, and that's where it comes right out of the Allman Brothers. Like when you listen to an Allman Brothers, whether it's in your Mountain Jams or your Liz Reed's live, the album versions, whatever it may be, they're always taking you somewhere. You're on a journey. I just remember when we saw, me and my friend, when we saw the band a couple of summers ago, and they did Passaquan, and like my friend's describing, like his head went to somewhere else, and by the end of, he's like, I think my life just flashed before me. Like I don't know where. You really, Derek takes you on a journey, and this band takes you on a journey in a way that's just totally unique, in my opinion.
It's funny that song, it's instrumental, but and I said it to Zach and Sophie before we even played our first show. I said that's going to be the song people really connect with, just because it's so cool. It gives a chance for everybody to stretch on the song, and Zach really kills on that song. And sure enough, when we play it live, people really love it. And I know Saturday night, I bet that's the song that's really going to resonate.
Oh, so you've been working on pass. I mean, that's a good one, because you don't need all 12 for that one, of course.
Yeah, we got to give the fingers a break for a minute.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's a steady one in our set list.
One of my favorites, actually.
How many minutes do you tend to extend that one? I think it's 12 minutes on the album, and it tends to range in the 15 to 20, typically, sometimes a little more, sometimes.
When we played the Lyric Theater, we clocked it at 13 minutes.
That's probably good for you. Good for you guys. Music with purpose was something Warren Haynes called this type of music. Stacy says you guys are unbelievable, and she loves you.
Thank you. Much love, Stacy.
I think you're still wheezing a little bit, Todd. I don't know what other options. I think it might be your earbuds. I'm not totally sure, but that's just my guess. I don't know. I don't know if you could try it.
Yeah.
What's up?
I said we'll try to hear it, but now it's gone.
Yeah, it only comes back when I stop talking about it for a few minutes, and then it comes back when we're in the middle of the conversation. It's all good. I don't know if we have any other options, but yeah, no.
I could go in another location.
I don't know if it's a location. I think it's
it could
either
be. It could be.
It's either the
earbuds. I could try if you want to take 2 minutes talking among yourselves, and I'll.
Yeah. You might as well.
Okay.
I can
take me off camera as I move this.
Yeah.
Take me off camera.
I'll just remove. There you go. I booted him out. Sweet. Do we need him? Does anyone really care about the bass player anyway when you have the lead singer and the lead guitar player?
We care about our bass player.
I'm messing. Have you guys been following the band super duper closely this past year, 2025? Because they obviously debuted, I think, 7 new songs. I don't know if you guys have caught any of those on archive.org or anything like that.
We have, and we've seen some of them live. We went and saw them back in September when they played with Government Mule here in Chicago. That was truly one of the best concerts I have ever seen for a lot of reasons.
Where was that show?
That was at Northerly Island here in the city. And seeing Warren, I mean, growing up a diehard Allman Brothers fan, seeing Warren finally in person was a bucket list show for me in and of itself. But then he brings out Derek and Susan, then he brings out the other singers, and it became a family affair really quick in the concert. And then when TTB took the stage, then Warren comes back out, and it's a whole thing. We saw Stacy at that show. That was so much fun. And we got to hear some of their new songs, and that was super cool. Crazy Crying was one of my favorites from that new list of songs. And they closed out the show with Liz Reed, which that brought a tear to my eye. That was really, really special to see that, because there's not too many other people playing old Allman Brothers music live in concert with the people who grew up and played in that band and know how to do that song the right way. It's just really special.
That's the thing. Who can cover the Allman Brothers? Who could cover Tedeschi Trucks Band? It's super ambitious thing. Certainly, it's funny to hear you talk about, like, shedding a tear during Liz Reed, because that's another thing I talk about, is that it doesn't have to be necessarily a ballad that makes one emotional at a Tedeschi Trucks Band song. One might get emotional for all different reasons. You don't. It doesn't have to be. What's the Bonnie Raitt? I can't make you love me. It doesn't have to be that song. It doesn't have to be Midnight in Harlem. It can be Passaquan. It can be Liz Reed. Just because these songs, I think, mean so much to us. Like, just going back to thinking about whether maybe it's your fandom of the Allman Brothers, maybe it's your family got you turned on to this music, so it makes you think of family and friends and childhood. It's all these other associations that go even beyond just the notes themselves and the nuts and bolts, the sounds.
For me with that song anyway, I started teaching myself how to play slide when I was 13 or 14. And my dad had a Fillmore East cassette tape that he burned. And that's what I grew up listening to and learning how to play slide. And to hear it in person was really, really special. And my dad happened to be at the show with us, which that made it even more special. So, it's like you say, sometimes it's just the place and like what is happening now, how is it happening in front of you? That just makes it all the more special.
What's the hardest thing about going back to when you first started to pick up slide? Because I fiddled with it for a minute, and then I kind of got away from it. My brain wanted to do things that I've heard that my hand was not able to keep up with, and I'm like, eh. But one thing it did get me thinking about is more playing on single strings than just sliding with my hand up and down the neck and just thinking about the fretboard in that sense. So I found that helpful. But what is sort of the biggest challenges? Is it getting a clean sound? Is it muting strings? Is it playing in an alternative tuning? What are the biggest challenges with slide as a newcomer to it?
That's a great question. For me, there's a couple things that make slide incredibly hard and incredibly fulfilling as you kind of move along and get better with it. First of which is intonation. If you can be playing something super basic like an Elmore James tune, or some of the old classic blues guys. One thing that they had in common was they weren't fast players. They weren't super fancy players, but they had intonation. And there was that, what that note is. There's no slippage. It's like, that's the note that you're supposed to be hitting, as if you're fretting it, on a fretboard with your finger. And with slide, you have no you have no guardrails. You're a little bit north of the fret, you're going to be sharp. If you're a little bit off key, you're going to hear it because it's everywhere, and guitars are loud, and I like to play guitars loud. So intonation is one of the hardest things. Another big learning curve for me was, I grew up teaching myself slide in standard tuning because Warren played in standard tuning, and that was just a little more familiar for me. And I was able to not always have a guitar dedicated for a different tuning. But you just can't do that. You can't take that shortcut with this music. There's too many chord voicings when he's not playing slide. There's too many chord voicings that don't translate the exact same. And there's certain runs, riffs that Derek will play, and you can't reach that far with a slide without it sounding like you're stretching too far and it's not happening. So I think there's only 3 songs in our set list that I play in standard tuning, and the rest of it is open E. And that learning curve alone has been big, because it goes beyond, it's like I said earlier, it goes beyond knowing how the song goes. It's how are you expressing what you're feeling? How are you translating what's up here into what's happening down here? Those 2 things, I think, have continuously been the hardest things to work on. But the more that I get into it, the more that we play as a group, it's happening. It's not as it's just more fluid. It's more emotion and less stress about technicality. It's like anything. These are muscles. There's muscle memory there. So I'm happy to be in a position where I can push myself to learn, and just try and do these songs to the most justice that's possible.
Yeah.
I got a question for Todd. It's a similar question of sorts. Because do you notice differences in little intricate details and differences when you're playing a O'Teal song, a Tim Lefebvre song, or a Brandon song? Do you notice any differences in their styles?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we kind of have, as fans, we think of maybe Tim as more spacey and more wild, and Brandon's more funky and things like that. And I don't know, just broadly speaking, do you sort of see any differences even in their styles as you listen and try to play different eras of TTB?
Yeah, it's different. And then when you hear, Brandon play a song that Tim played on, it's different. Yeah, he doesn't stay true. I'm a big Tim Lefebvre fan. I think he was the original TTB guy that really got it, and I think brought. I think Derek really liked him. I think he loved his playing because he played bass. He played in the mud, as he liked. He liked to get in mud, and Derek, even though he's got this jazz background with TTB, likes it more. Play bass, play rhythm. It's very rhythmic sounding bass. He doesn't want guys with chops just playing all over stuff. So. I do notice a difference. Of course, they're all different styles. Pino, of course, is different too. But I'm a big Tim Lefebvre fan, and that's the approach I bring to it. His in the mud bass playing, and also you have to have a good ear. When you start improvising, played Pasquan or something like that, you got to go off, and we like to get into the avant-garde, piece of TTB too. So you got to have a big ear for that. So I kind of favor Tim, but yeah, they all got different styles.
How do audiences react sometimes when you guys do go into the avant-garde areas? Because you can hear even on recordings or see the crowds, and you kind of, I like how TTB will challenge audiences' sensibilities who may be going there to hear bell-bottom blues and Midnight Harlem, but they're going to get Isaac and Kebbi jazz jams and spaced out interludes and things like that. How do your audiences react to when you sort of I'm guessing challenge maybe the appropriate word with some sort of avant-garde sounds? Do people react surprised? Are they restless? Or they think it's cool? Or what? How does that play itself out?
I think the reaction we got at the lyric was great. We played Love Has Something to Say, where at the end it gets Zach and Jim, our sax player, get into it, and people love it. Wouldn't you agree, guys?
Yeah, I would say joyful surprise is probably what, at least from the stage perspective of hearing the audience reaction to things that are happening and changing, and they're going off the trail, where are they going to go? I think that people are happily surprised that we're in a way brave enough to go there, but we're only going there because we can talk to each other that way musically.
I think that I can safely say that a chunk of the audience was specifically waiting for it. You know, we had a lot of audience members who, you know, showed up in a lot of tie-dye, and then they found the dance floor and they stayed there the entire time. Whether they were dancing or not, they were just like intently waiting for those moments that we would kind of go off the rails a little bit. But yeah, then the other half of the audience, even some people who we don't know or didn't know, who maybe just decided to see the show last minute, I think they were shocked at some points, but in a good way. In a good way. It's a very interesting show. It's not your typical, you know, tribute band experience.
Yeah, for sure. We got a couple of questions here. These are sort of similar questions from Kirka. What are your 3 favorite songs to listen to and 3 favorite songs to play? And then Nicholas is asking, great hearing that the source material for the group is a blend of studio and live material. Any favorite recordings? So I guess, what are your favorite songs to play and to listen to? Because those, I guess, could be different things for sure.
Gravity is one of my favorites. It's one of the more New Orleans style songs in TTB's set list that we do in ours as well, and it's a little bit different than everything else, but it's funky, it's upbeat, and it has its own sort of personality that's just a little bit different. That's a really fun one.
I'm trying to think. There's a few groups of songs that I like for different reasons. I love Let Me Get By, All That I Need, Part of Me. Those like super fun, uplifting songs, you know. I love Anyhow.
Anyhow's a really fun one to play.
I love the guitar parts on Anyhow. It's like super mysterious and it's just like really powerful. And that's why I also love Bound for Glory, because like I love singing that song too, because I kind of just get to let it go at the very end and kind of let loose on that one.
Do you like singing Anyhow?
That there's a funny story with Anyhow. I remember like in 2020, that was the first time that somebody asked me to sing Anyhow in a set, and I listened to it. I was like, I don't think I'm capable of singing this. So I had like tried to sing it off and on for a long time, because the register is just a little bit low in the verses, and like her voice sounds phenomenal on that. And so it's not a song that I can just kind of fake my way through. So I honestly think that the first time that Todd kind of put this bug in my ear about doing a tribute to TTB, I thought about that song, and I'm like, I'm going to have to learn how to sing that song properly. I am still getting there. I think I can make my way.
She's being really, really modest.
I was guessing so.
Yeah.
Musicians can tend to be that way, or often that way, I suppose.
That song has become one of the highest energy, most dynamic songs that we play, and Sophie is not just working through that song; she is killing that song.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Starts from the first note you sing.
Right. Was that challenging to hit or articulate vocally those sort of guttural yells or notes?
The intro. Well, what live version of Anyhow do
we for that one we do the Fox Theater.
That's right.
Live at the Fox Theater.
The intro of that song is it's almost haunting when she comes in, and that every time we've done that song, even in rehearsal, I can feel like my heart start beating, because I think about that intro, and like I'm like, how can I possibly come in that like with that power? And so that's what I think about with that song. It's one of the reasons that I admire that song so much, because it is, for me personally, it is so hard to perform, and she just does it so beautifully.
I think the timing, I guess, is a little bit challenging with those intro notes. They come in at a very specific, almost not weird, but it's like it's not the very first note, but it comes in fairly quickly. You know, I imagine the timing could be a little tricky too.
Good memory on that. Yeah. You're 100% right.
There are some really fun timing things that they do. I'm trying to remember the song, but there's one song where they kind of skip a beat and they come back in on an eighth note. I'm not going to remember the song, but there's a few like parts in there that if you don't know it, you'd never get it. So like form wise and structure wise with the songs, there's a lot of those little things that we just all have to remember. And those are things that have to be like predetermined. So
those little details that one could easily overlook are the details that make that song special by the end of it.
Exactly.
I overlook those details. I mean, when I'm strumming a few chords and trying to fumble my way through a TTB song and I'm listening to it and I'm playing, I'm looking up the chords. I'm like, oh, I see what he's doing. I'm not doing exactly what Derek's doing, but whatever, close enough for me. But like, that's what makes them great, is adding those little intricacies and details to the songs. What about you, Todd? Do you have favorite TTB songs to listen to and play? Or are those the same, different lists?
Well, there's a bunch, but I tend to like the more funkier, to play the more funkier tunes, but I really can't say. Every time I play a TTB song, whatever it is, I really enjoy it. I mean, like it's one of those, the music, I don't even have to think about it. Like I said, I play with a lot of tribute bands, so I have to think about, this is 8-bar, this is 8-bar, this is 8 bars. That's how I'm thinking, you know, and we're going to do this, you know, at the bridge or whatever. But TTB, everything just comes naturally and feels good. And one of the reasons that I brought up to Sophie about doing a tribute band is because I love the music so much. And Sophie was the one that I thought would honor it the best. So one of my favorite songs to play is, it's not a very hard song to play. For me, it's Come See About Me, because it's just got that bass, you know, it kind of drives the song and stuff like that, you know. So those are the kind of songs I love. But most of their songs just have, their bass players are so brilliant, you know, and so tasty and so melodic.
What are some of the other or tribute bands you play with or have played with? I'm just kind of curious.
Well, I played with Sophie with Fleetwood Mac, so we've done a Fleetwood Mac. Tomorrow night I'm doing a Huey Lewis and the News tribute band. I play in a Van Morrison tribute band. I've done a Summer of Love tribute band. I do a Motown. It is the movie The Commitments, so it's a band based around the music of The Commitments. And I'm probably missing one or two at this point, but I've played with a lot of tribute bands and stuff like that. And the reason why, it's basically because those bands pay more, you know,
sure,
and they get the bigger gigs. They play on the stage, and you know, that works out well. But one of the reasons I thought of a TTB tribute band is because those are so specific. You play the same show every night, basically. Same set list, same notes, you know, same show from 2022 to 2023 to 2024 to 2025, because you got to play those hits, right? You got to play their hits. TTB, the fan base, we don't have to play those hits. In fact, if we play something obscure, they'll probably just like it as much as.
I was going to say, if you guys start doing shows back-to-back nights in the same city, you guys start doing your own, you know, smaller scale residencies. If you play repeats, fans are gonna get on you guys about that.
Right, and what's so challenging about this too is, you know, TTB rehearses every day. Every day they rehearse. They rehearse before the show. They'll rehearse for 40 minutes. You know, we only get so many rehearsals in, and we're trying to tackle this difficult music, and it keeps us on our toes on stage. But I think we love it so much, and we listen to it so much, it comes easier than any other type of music that's maybe more simplistic.
Were there members of your band that you've played with, musicians that you guys have played with that just did not, for whatever reason, just TTB kind of not went over their head, but they just hadn't didn't know of TTB, and then they discovered them through like, oh, I'll check out this gig. And they're like, wow, this band is awesome. Did people like discover other musicians discover TTB through you guys or through this band, or you guys are all musicians? And when I talk to people who are in the music industry here in LA, like everyone knows Derek and Susan at TTB. If I go to like a show, everyone in the audience is like, oh yeah, I know Derek, I know their music. But if you just walk down the street, there's going to be less people. So I'm kind of curious, in your music world, do you come across people who you've played with who just like don't know TTB and then discover them through you?
You know, everyone in our group was familiar. I think in time, as we started working these songs and really trying to hash them out, the level of what's the word I'm trying to, the level of familiarity came. It's like, oh, actually I've heard this before from so and so. It's a lot of word of mouth, you know, in a lot of ways. And I know that when I called Julian, our drummer, to originally join, you know, I had heard him before, and we were, you know, starting to get to know each other a little more here in the scene. But I had heard what he could do with other groups. And I said, I asked him, are you familiar? He goes, yeah, I'm kind of familiar. You know, I know a couple songs and whatnot. And I said, well, I think you're going to fit in just fine. And as he got into it, boy, did he really kind of dive in and go head over heels. That guy is doing the work of two drummers, you know, with us and making it sound damn good.
Yeah.
Is he literally, I mean, I guess he's kind of has to literally, you know, play two parts. I mean, I think of like Eddie Van Halen, just one guitar player. He's playing the rhythm, he's playing the lead, he's kind of jumping in between with his style. Is that something that, I'm not a drummer, I'm not an expert on drumming or anything like that. Is that something he's like kind of has to literally do, is play two parts at once in a lot of ways?
Yes. In order to play the music the right way, you got to know what both drummers are doing. And then I think in his case, he's gotten really good at splitting the difference, taking the best of both drummers and basically mimicking both of them in a way that one singular drummer can do it. And the amount of ground that he covers and the amount of space, not to mention doing backup vocals on a handful of songs, is impressive to me.
Well, Isaac's singing, doing some vocals too now, so that's right in line with TTB. Now we got some drummer vocal action now in the real band too. So you guys are capturing the spirit in that regard as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, going back to Passaquan, again, like one of my favorite songs. I remember Julian mentioning about like trying to figure out what his part was really going to be. And he showed up to rehearsal for the first time, and I was like, all right, let's just see how it goes. And then he just pulled out this amazing drum part, and I was like floored. I just like stood there with my mouth open, like it was just really incredible.
Yeah, that's a definitely ambitious stuff indeed. Playing something like Passaquan. You guys haven't been there to the actual Passaquan in Georgia, I'm guessing.
No,
I haven't. I would like to get down there. It seems like obligatory and necessary and bucket list item certainly for any TTB fan to get over there, just to say you did it, just to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did they? I forget if they actually literally wrote Passaquan there, or if it was just kind of inspired by their visit, but obviously it's inspired by it at the very least.
Yeah.
Who knows what happened there? I'm guessing some substances may have been ingested. I'm just guessing.
Quite possibly.
It looks like that would be the place to do that sort of thing, to partake.
Yeah.
For our first show, we had a screen behind us. And we had somebody make a series of different videos that were slightly psychedelic looking. And I remember us picking out the videos, and we're like, oh yeah, this would look cool. And we recorded the whole show just like from the top, so we could hear it back. And I remember like there's a few shots of like crazy psychedelic mushrooms and just these crazy patterns that I had no idea would look as crazy as they did on like a mega screen.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have it in the pictures.
You can see on a couple of these, but yeah,
looks great.
In venues where we have a video wall, we do have visualizers for each song that we've selected, and we're changing those and freshening them up a little bit depending on where we're playing. So there's definitely a fun visual aspect to the show aside from watching the performance itself.
Is there I mean, you just played kind of shows at for the general public. Is there a market to do weddings, bar mitzvahs, corporate events, other events for this band? I think maybe just because there's so many covers involved. But is there a market, or is those types of events something that you guys can potentially explore or are exploring?
I think for me, I think the only way that would happen would be if someone approached us and said, I am a diehard fan. Will you guys play a corporate event or my party or my wedding or whatever? Then that's a conversation to be had. But I don't see this being the type of project that just takes like, hey, come play our Christmas party,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like what TTB is, because they've played some private events, small shows, and theaters, and I think they may have even played a couple of people's weddings. If you're able to meet their price tag, they'll really do the gig. They love playing. The band loves playing.
Yeah, we'll never say never.
Yeah. No, I think as we play more and more, I can see us playing private parties, definitely. Because this band is one of these bands that people don't necessarily go to see them to see a specific song. They actually go to hear the band and hear the improv, and it's a whole experience as opposed to just a song. Like when we did the Fleetwood Mac thing, they want to hear Landslide, right? Or they're not happy. I think this is kind of an experience, and I think we're introducing people to TTB, which is really cool, that have not heard of before and just happen to go to the show because they know us and happen to go, and they're like, wow, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
We the fans of TTB love the band, and this is almost just like conversation for the sake of conversation that we all have. But I think it's like 50-50 in terms of fans that chase songs. Oh, I want to hear this. I never heard this. I hope I hear this. They're gonna play this, like people who are really tuned into what songs that they want to hear. And then there's other fans, which is kind of like what I am basically at this point, is like they're in charge, whatever they want to do that night, whatever Derek and the band wants to do. Yeah, I that's so people just kind of go along with it. So I think there's a lot to what you're saying, which is what makes this band super unique, is that there are probably 50. I'm just taking it out of my ass, but like I think like 50% of TTB fans really are just down to hear whatever the band wants to play that night and feels like playing, and we're not chasing songs, because everything is going to be amazing. Like I talked about this a million times, is that like, in some regard, they can really pick their set list out of a hat, but even more so, they can take any of their songs and close the show with them. They could close the show with literally really any of their songs, which is really wild because, well, it's wild on a lot of fronts, but it doesn't have to be an upbeat rocker. They can close with something, if anything.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, that's how I feel when I see them live. It's like, take the wheel.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, I'm down for it.
Yeah.
And it never disappoints,
Yeah. I'm going to see me at Jazz Fest this year.
Hey.
New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm psyched.
That's going to be amazing. How many times have you guys seen the band? A handful. I'm sure I asked you last time, just a handful of times or something. I think you guys said, I forget.
4 or 5 times now.
Yeah, I'm about the same. I saw them a bunch of times at the Chicago Theater. They used to have a residency there every January, and so I would go every year. So it's about 4 or 5 times. And the last time I think I forgot the last place I saw them, but I missed Northerly Island. Unfortunately, I had I think it was during the week, but I had a gig or something going on that night. I was pretty bummed.
Yeah, they're gone.
They used to come here a lot. They used to be in Chicago a lot. Now they're here like maybe once or twice a year. That's it.
Yeah, well, they've consciously, I think, trying to cut back on touring, and I understand it, and I get it. I think in terms of not that I had an expectation when this band formed in 2010, and that's kind of right around when I discovered them. I didn't really think, okay, this is a band, they're going to put out 7 albums, they're going to tour this much amount, and this is what it's going to be like, and maybe in 15 years it's going to be all like, I didn't really think in those terms, but just like thinking about the last 15, 16 years of this band, like they've given us enough music that's going to like sustain me for like, if there was never a live show or a recording again, not only would I have enough music to listen to between, as long as archive.org and Nugs and YouTube and all these and albums are still available to be listened to, like I could be fulfilled for like the rest of my life. So that, I definitely appreciate like that for sure. Everything seems kind of like gravy in a lot of ways, that we're getting a new album from TTB this year. Like that's amazing.
That'll be very exciting.
Yeah.
Super fun.
I like your hat.
They should. I say it all the time. It was for the Kofi Burbridge Day of Service, the volunteering every year. But they should. Got to figure out how to sell them and then donate a portion to Mr. Holland's Opus Foundation. That's what I'm doing with my Patreon. Part of it is because it's easy. It's very easy to do. I just donate a portion of the second tier of my Patreon goes to Mr. Holland's Opus, and I've been just making monthly donations to them since I started the Patreon, and now I have a relationship with them, and they do super awesome work bringing instruments to kids and schools and promoting it. It's always the first thing to be cut, from what I understand, is the arts, is music, and that's what kind of keeps us from killing each other. I think actually is when you're busy learning an instrument, you're not. It's productive. It's a positive addiction, I think, in a lot of ways. Like
it's great for your brain,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool that you do.
Yeah.
No, they do great work, and Kofi, had a connection to them for sure, and TTB. I was just going to say that TTB sponsored a school in Jacksonville specifically, and they met exceeded the donations. That was like within like a month or two ago, and that was because you could actually choose specific schools that you can and specific causes that you want to directly fund, which is nice, because there may be some not on charities out there and organizations that are not exactly on the up and up. Believe it or not, there's some corruption out there in this world. I don't know if you guys have seen and heard. I've heard. Mr. Holland's Opus is awesome, and I do love the movie too. Mr. Holland's Opus, the movie with Richard Dreyfuss. What were you going to say, Todd?
Derek said Kofi was the best musician he ever played with, and he's played with Herbie Hancock, and he's played with some heavy duty players, and he said Kofi was just on a different level, And
it seemed to just. Sorry, I was gonna say it just seemed to flow out of him, like the music. It just came easy in a lot of ways. I remember I'm lucky enough to have talked to Bobby T's on here, and I just remember him describing Kofi in the studio, where he would just come in, beep, bop, boop, bop, and done. It was awesome. It was amazing. Just like a first take virtuoso.
Right, and a lot of the stuff that was written, they wrote it at soundcheck, right? A lot of their ideas came from soundcheck, and they would take it back, and a lot of times it came from Kofi, just playing on the piano or keyboards or whatever, and they would get an idea off of that and write off of that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was just saying, I remember what I was going to say before about the if we happen to not have any more like new music from them, not only would we have enough to listen to, I would probably still be talking about, like, there's always been new stuff to like talk about and dive into. Like, I feel like I have an endless amount of material and things to discuss about this band, even when they're on on a break right now. But I love talking to fans about shows. That's kind of my I sort of bread and butter is getting the recaps and living vicariously through people who are going to the live shows, and even people who are going to see cover bands. Like, I want to hear about like how this show went, and I'm sure I'm going to dive into whatever YouTube videos come out of you guys. And I love to check out friends and colleagues playing, TTB songs and just music in general, and supporting local music is something I love to do too, as much as I can. It's a good thing from what I gather.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the show on Saturday night.
Maybe.
It's going to be awesome, it really is.
Yeah, it's exciting, and I'm sure it's a huge rush to be up there and performing, and
It feels
adrenaline and all that.
so long since we, did their show. So
It feels like a long time, and it feels like a blink of an eye at the same time, because even though we had this break of a couple months from our last show, we haven't stopped working on it.
yeah,
It's just been this constant process of crafting and perfecting and just building on it and making it as good as it can be. So in a way, it feels like a long time, but it's also like we haven't really stopped working on it. It's just we've just been plugging away at it, this whole time. So very, very to get rolling here with the upcoming shows that we got.
Yeah, I kept listening to different versions of, Bound for Glory or whatever. I just kept listening to different versions of each one, different bass players playing, and picking up little ideas here and there. And it's fun. It's really a lot of fun.
It's just crazy and ambitious. It just seems like, I don't know. There's like, I can just imagine like in your, I don't know how you play Into the Mystic in your Van Morrison like cover band, but maybe different versions, maybe just like this studio version. But there's just like a way to do it. But I imagine there's just like so much more you can so much more to chew on, so to speak, with TTB. And it's not just because songs are longer or might be longer. There's just more. It's 12 people up there, so things are very layered, if I can use that word.
Yeah. Well, you picked Into the Mystic. Happens to be one of my favorite songs, so I always enjoy playing that, even though we're playing it pretty much note for note. But yeah, when we learned this stuff, it's just amazing. And what I love learning is because there is a learning curve to this, hearing how everybody else in the band is playing. Like we had a rehearsal on Monday night, and just learning how it's kind of evolved. Everybody in the band's kind of evolved, and it just sounds so much better. And now that we're actually going to be playing several shows, I can't wait till we get the fourth or fifth show in where it's going to evolve to, because I know we've just touched just like the beginning. We're on the outer layers still, and when we get inside and we peel away the layers, we're really going to be a force to be reckoned with.
It almost seems like it's a positive addiction in a lot of ways. Addicted to the music, addicted to that feeling you get when you play the whatever is the right note, and then you guys are playing the right notes at the right time together, and then you're playing the right notes together, and then you're taking that idea to some other place, and then just building on that. It seems like that can become like almost like a positive addiction in a way, if that makes any sense.
100%.
It's
100%.
It is addicting, and it feels so good to finally like accomplish something that you've worked on for so long. There's a lot of like vocal parts, a lot of things that I worked on, and I still didn't get them the way that I wanted to when we did our first show. And like bit by bit, I just keep adding like things that are slightly more accurate, like to the best of my ability. And yeah, like I think I could do that forever, and not even just with this show, just in general.
And we've gotten into the habit of recording rehearsals too. And when we rehearse as a group, we'll do our rhythm section rehearsals, and then we'll do our rehearsals with the extra singers and keyboard and whatnot and the horns. But between recording the rehearsals and running our rehearsals like a set, it's made a huge difference in letting us not just practice the songs, but like, okay, let's build the show. Let's run this show a lot. and let's work it so that it's something that really becomes a well-oiled machine.
And we're very fortunate. Our keyboard player's brother, John Kaki, he's got a wealth of experience. He's toured with Buddy Guy and Coco Taylor. It's been on, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 recordings. I don't know. And so it's great to have his kind of knowledge in the band because he's really detailed, extremely detailed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Andy, because these three brains on this call right now, like we can cover some ground, but it takes a team.
It's the intricacies.
Yep. It's all the details that we're not looking at because I've got guitar brain and I'm thinking about guitar 24.
Right.
I can't always think about what the keyboard is doing or what the singers are doing, So we're fortunate to have a team that really works together and builds the whole thing as a group.
Do you ever lose like objectivity, I guess, individually when it comes to your own singing or guitar playing? Like you can't even tell if what you're like, is this good? Is this change better? I'm not even sure. I've listened to this too many times. I've worked on this. I guess breaks can help stepping away, but do you ever sort of lose a sense of like your objectivity of your own abilities?
Definitely. And it's even trickier with like vocals because you hear your own voice in your head all the time. And then, you hear yourself back on a recording and a lot of
different.
Totally different. But then, you train yourself to get used to hearing yourself on recording. So then I'm at the point where I'm like, well, does that mean that it sounds good? Or does that mean that I just think it sounds okay now? Because I've gotten used to it so many times. Because I try to make myself listen to, rehearsals or shows. If my friend Dave comes along, who helps with sound, I always ask him if he's going to record the show so he can send me the audio files. So yeah, I'm kind of desensitized to hearing my voice.
But that's why recording our stuff as we do it in real time in rehearsals is so important, because you can give it a day or two after rehearsal and then you're like, all right, let's crack open these files from 2 days ago. Let's listen to how it actually sounded. And then you can just adjust from there.
Yeah.
There is something too that I feel like even in my amateur playing, I really, if I play something and I record 30-some minute or whatever, I'm doing a song and I listen back, it's typically super cringe. But then when I listen to it the next morning on when I'm driving in the car, I'm like, oh, this is not that terrible. Like I guess I kind of you could ask yourself if someone else played this for me, what would my reaction to it? And that could be a way of that's a way of trying to be a little honest with my own creative endeavors in general.
It's a practice that has proven to be so beneficial for us that we do it in our other projects now. Like when
time.
If the Zach Avery band is doing a rehearsal and we've got some new songs that we're going to run we haven't done before, we record the rehearsal and we can go back and fix things. And it's the practice of it is just it's all in the effort of progress, and getting things to not just to be better, but getting it to what we like and how we want it to sound.
The recording does not lie ever.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I usually bring my phone and I record it on my phone. Even a live show, I'll just put it on the ground in front by the monitor, just so I can hear what, basically the band, but I'm listening to myself and how I can improve or, what I could do differently maybe next time. Am I playing too many notes? Do I got to give it more space? Do I got to breathe? Do I got to punch this a little more? Stuff like that. But I think it's good. Recording's the best.
You guys definitely capture the spirit of TTB just by your passion for the music, your persistence and dedication. I can just, I'm sure I talked about this last time that just really shines through just talking to you guys, and let alone checking you guys out with the actual music and everything that's come from the show and whatnot, and that you guys are creating. super
You got to
cool.
fly to Chicago and see us.
Oh, for sure. Oh, do shows on the West Coast.
All right.
I'm sure there's something going. I'm sure there's some. Let's make it happen. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, but beyond just that, I'm sure there's a couple of birds or something. You could just come out here for one show and to hang out with me. That's all those things would be awesome. I'm sure there's some other meetings. There's something going. There's things going on in this town. I guess I gather from what I understand too. You know?
Can we love to?
Yeah.
Can't we play at your mansion?
Yeah, I've had some events here that I had too many people in a not big enough space. So I might. You never know. Would you say 8? You don't have 12. 12 would be a bit much, but 8 maybe.
Yeah.
My neighbors may not love that.
That's funny.
Anything else we should cover or talk about? I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I know you guys are 2 hours difference than me. I could talk all night too. But,
we can wrap it up by plugging the upcoming shows. We are adding more dates, but we've got this Saturday at the venue in Aurora. We've got February 14th. Excuse me, February 7th.
Yeah.
February 7th at the Lyric Theater in Blue Island. And we have March 14th at that's TBD. Go to the next one. March 21st. March 21st at the Rouse Center in Crystal Lake. We've got some other dates that we're working on, but we've got those 3 locked in.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. No, that's super, super exciting. I got them right here.
There we go.
Aurora, Blue Island, Crystal Lake.
Awesome.
Sweet. Revelatortribute.com.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us, Adam.
Thank you, Sophie, Zach, Todd. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
Any last words? Anything else we should need to cover or talk about related to the band, stories, anecdotes? Just before we forget, I just want to make sure.
We're here to play it loud and proud.
Yeah.
If you like that, come and check us out.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for sure. Appreciate it. Like, follow, subscribe, do all those things. More episodes coming soon. Later.
Awesome.